What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jess from She Vibes, and Detroit Auto Parts is the official parts store of Red Line Radio. They have two convenient locations on the east side, East 200th Street. You'll call 216-531-7373, or the west side, Pearl Road, at 216-398-7373. Mention Red Line Radio and receive 10% off your purchase. And always remember, it's definitely a vibe.
What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl Shy from She Vibes, and Growing Wings Adult Services is the official sponsor of the State of the Art Studio 2. Growing Wings Adult Services have 5 years of experience of taking care of adults with disabilities. For more information, call Lisa at 234-334-7547. And don't forget to tune in to She Vibes on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. EST.
What's going on, everybody? Lee Money here from Money's Crazy Mind. And I don't know about you guys, but I know that sometimes after my trash has been picked up, man, does my garbage can smell like, well, trash. Well, if you have the same problem that I'm having, then you can reach out to Fitz's Trash Bin Cleaning LLC. They offer trash can cleaning and pressure washing. Fitz's Trash Bin Cleaning is locally owned, eco-friendly trash can cleaning service in Northwest Ohio, serving North Ridgeville and the surrounding areas. You can reach Fitz's Trash Bin Cleaning LLC at 440-752-1533 or at their website, ftbcusa.com, or you can email Brandon at ftbcusa.com, or you can check them out on Facebook, FTBCUSA. And of course, if you mention Red Line Radio while you book a service, you receive 10% off the first service. That's an awesome deal. And don't forget to reach out to Fitz's Trash Bin Cleaning Service LLC today.
Yo, Dave, I really appreciate you letting me do my thing over here at Red Line Radio LLC.
Tim, ain't no thing but a chicken wing.
Hey, well, you know I love them chicken wings. I got a couple buddies that's trying to come on and do a podcast. You got anything for them?
Heck yeah, we do. Just have them give me a call.
Bet. I'll have them call 440-503-0828.
Tim, don't forget to tell them that we're available on all social media platforms.
And you can't forget about the Red Line Radio LLC app on the Google Play Store.
Damn, how'd I forget about that?
You was probably thinking about them little people again.
Damn, I probably was.
That's cool. They just trying to be a part of the winningest radio station in Cleveland.
And we got the hardware to prove it.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jessica Steffes, and I'm bringing to you the Women's Summit, brought to you by Lex Vegas Show on Redline Radio. I hope everyone's doing good this morning. We are here to talk about some body, soul, and mind things for women's health. And I'd like to introduce my guests today. Will be Lisa Summers, Ashley Moore, Jocelyn Brown, and Christy Schaefer. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about body, soul, and mind. How does women's health and how does these things come together? So I want to talk to you guys this morning, but I want to kind of give you an introduction to who I got. So Christy Schaefer, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a fun fact about yourself?
I'm Christy Schaefer. I'm a nurse by trade. I also make soaps from the Sudsy Wee Soap Company.
Shout out to Sudsy Wee.
Sudsy Wee!
I enjoy gardening. I kayak fish. Do a little bit of everything. So
That's awesome. How about you, Jocelyn?
I am also a nurse. Let's see, a fun fact about me. Ooh, I was about to say I'm kind of busy because I'm a boy mom, so all my time is
That's
taken
an
by
adventure in and of
my boys
itself.
in sports.
How about you, Ashley?
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley. Most of you know me as Rosabelle. I am a master herbalist, a photographer, and I love to edit. I love being outside. I love doing yoga. I really enjoy grounding activities.
Excellent. How about you, Lisa?
My name is Lisa Summers. I'm a part owner of Growing Wings Adult Services and Redline Graphics. And basically what we do at Growing Wings is take care of adults with disabilities. And at the graphics, we make race car stickers, banners, anything you can come up with, and car wraps.
That
We do
sounds
it.
so much fun. That sounds so much fun. So what I want to start with is to talk to Jocelyn and Christy. I want to start with the body because that is part of what makes us healthy is just knowing ourselves, knowing our body, how it works. What works for us doesn't always work for everybody else. So Jocelyn and Christy, what is the technical definition of exercise?
Well, for me, I do stretching. I try to stretch every day because I have spinal issues. So, I do my stretches, gets my back and my arthritis kind of moving. Another thing that I do, I don't do like yoga or anything. Not that I don't want to. I got yard work. So I'll spend all day playing in the yard, getting burnt to a crisp, pulling weeds and just making my yard, nice and work out any aggressions that I have.
Awesome.
I agree. So with me, I would say the definition of, like you said, exercise is pretty much any type of movement, because a lot of people think, oh my God, exercise, I have to be like a gym rat and go to the gym all the time. Like
Right.
she said, exercise is more than just being in the gym. I also have like spinal issues. I've had scoliosis. I was diagnosed with that in childhood.
Okay.
So thank God it's, not bad.
So how do you cope with that? Like to stretch out and do what you do to be able to move around normally?
Like she said, I just stretch in the morning, make sure I stretch, walk a lot. In afternoons, I'll like go to, my middle school's track and, just walk around. Stuff like that is just simple exercise. You don't have to, break a sweat.
We're not trying to do
break a sweat. So I mean,
5K
even
marathon here.
like I have a 6-year-old, of course, that takes a lot of energy. So, he likes to work out too. So we'll do little exercises in my living room at night
I
after
like that.
after school, just to kind of get him to wind down before bed. We'll
That's
do,
good.
little
That's
stuff
good.
like stretches, push-ups, jumping jacks, stuff like that.
I don't know why it's adorable when kids do it.
It is.
So
It's so
adorable
funny
when we
watching him
it.
do it. Especially when he's trying to do like the push-ups and sit-ups. They don't know how to do it right. So it's like, okay.
So you mentioned that you work out during the day, like in the morning.
Mhm.
Do you feel that's the best time? Or because I know there's people that are women that work different shifts. So like, is morning a good time, or is it more, based off of someone's schedule, like when you get up instead of when you go to bed kind of thing?
Well, I took the summer off, so morning worked for me.
Mhm.
I do start work on Monday, so
Yay!
time to go back to work. Bank account says you need to go to work. When I worked night shift, because I spent most of my adult life on night shift, working 12, 16-hour days. So what I did for exercise is I'd go for a walk after work just to wind down, I do fishing, I would go kayaking,
Nice.
just all that aggression that I had
Mhm.
pent up at work that, I couldn't release because I'm at work. I got it out then, and then wore my butt out, and I was ready for the
So
next
that
shift.
was, so would you say that after work is better for you to kind of wind down so that you can sleep during the day, or?
For me, it was.
Okay.
Everybody's different. Some people can get up at like 4:00 in the morning,
Right.
work out
Kudos
for
to
an hour.
them.
Right,
real.
right.
Have
Definitely
their
kudos to them
coffee and
because
have
yeah, I know.
My breakfast consists of a cup of coffee and a cigarette. So this is not a gym body. This is built for hard labor. So, kudos to those that can get up, the wee hours of the morning, get their exercise and their time. And I've never been one of those people. I wish I was.
Yeah.
I'd be healthier. I'd be smaller.
What about you, Jocelyn? You say, what would you say is probably best?
To me, like she said, the afternoon works better for me just because I'm not really, I work day shift, but I'm not really a morning person. Like in the morning when I get up, I don't want to be talking. I mean, of course I do like my little stretches to get out of bed just to, you gotta, especially when you get older as a woman, you hear those bones cracking and everything. So, gotta do my little leg stretches and, just work my shoulders out and everything like that. But to me, it's more, in the afternoon after I'm done working, trying to wind myself down for the evening. Look, somebody in the chat is saying that does going to the buffet count as workout?
No, Mark, it does not work that way.
Well, look, wait. So you can incorporate exercise at the buffet. Like just kind of work your hands up and down as you're putting the fork and spoon to your mouth. So
I do squats while I'm filling my plate.
It's the walking.
Right. Take the long route to the buffet. And
Go around the perimeter.
Go around all the way
Go
to
around
the
perimeter. So I hear a lot, and I know women hear this a lot when they're starting exercise and stuff. Why is hydrating important?
I don't want to cramp up and get a migraine.
And then too, like you have to think your body is made of water. We're losing water as we sweat, as we move around. So you want to make sure that you, replenish that water in your body. It's also helping like your cells and everything. So I always tell, people, when you get up in the morning, and I know a lot of people don't like to drink water, but you should always at least start your day with, one glass of water.
That is a good plan.
Coffee is water.
You got to use water to make the coffee.
Or if you don't like straight water, use, because like I have my oldest son is a diabetic, so he can't have sugar. So sometimes he was diagnosed in childhood. Sometimes kids don't like straight water, so they have like those Crystal Light packets or the Kool-Aid packets, stuff like that. You can put that in there, and that counts as your hydration. So
when you are doing this exercising thing, you're getting up, you're moving around in the mornings, and you're hydrating. What are some benefits to doing these things in the morning? Like, how does it, or I shouldn't say in the morning, because I'm a morning person. I work during the day, but I'm not the only one that has to work during the day. These times during the day when you are moving around, getting active and stuff, why is it beneficial, and why is that important?
To me, I think it makes your mood a lot better. When you're able to, do a little exercise, you get your adrenaline going, you feel better about yourself. Exercise also may be something like she said, like yoga or meditation, just kind of decompressing before you go into a stressful situation. Okay. So
all right. That's good to know. I just got to check my time. All right. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about also is health checks. So health checks are important for women. We are doing more and more studies in women's health to find that we need somebody to go to for those problems when something doesn't feel right. We know something don't feel right, and yet we're being told by our normal physician, you're fine, you're good, you're fine. So one of the things that I was looking at is in doing our health checks, like our pap smears, our breast exams, our mammograms. I know that the federal government has put stipulations like a pap smear. We don't have to do it every year now. We only have to do it every 3 years, or if something's detected, then we have to get it done. This is so confusing now with a lot of things. Like when my daughter first started going through stuff, back in the day, I would go that's where my mom took me, was to the OBGYN to have that all explained to me. So I did that. And my OB said, oh no, we don't do the pap smears for 16-year-olds. So they actually say that it's not healthy for them. So in my question, in your opinion, how often should you do breast exams and pap smears and mammograms? And as far as like mammograms, what would you recommend? As far as I know, 40 is usually the age target, but I know I had my first one before 40, which was very, very scary because you basically expect 40 is my deadline. I shouldn't have any tests before 40.
Well,
So
it also depends on the family history, not to cut you off as well.
no, yes. And that's another question I had. Why is it so important for women to know their family history?
In my case, my daughter started having some issues. So I did what my mom did with me, took her to the OBGYN. She got checked out. The reason why I took her is I graduated high school with stage 3 cervical cancer.
Wow.
My microphone's off.
No, it's not.
Oh. There we go. Is that better? Okay. My mom took me when I was 16 to get my first pelvic and pap, because she also had problems with cervical cancer when she was in her early 20s. So, yeah, I took my daughter in when she was 16, and they're like, no, we don't do it. And I'm like, look,
Right.
I went 16 years old and 17 years old clear. And then when I went in for my 18, you told me, oh, well, there's a problem. We're going to have to send you to a specialist. I just graduated high school, and you're telling me I have stage 3. I'm going into college. So my winter break, I have to have surgery, possible chemo.
Wow.
So, and you can't have kids. So how the guidelines have changed, I think are ridiculous, because what if that was my daughter, and by the time she was 21 and able to finally get her first pap, she's already stage 4. There's nothing that can be done.
That's true. That is true.
And working in hospice, I was seeing 20s, early, not even 30 with young kids dying of cervical and ovarian cancer. But, we're going to wait until they're like 21 before we give them a pap. But here's some birth control pills you can try.
Right. That seems like their solution.
Yeah, and then one thing I don't, especially with the whole, you're pushing HPV vaccines, but you don't want to check and see if something's going on down there. Like, so you're telling me I need to be vaccinated because it's a possibility of this disease that could turn into cancer, and they're vaccinating them at what 8th grade, I think is the earliest.
They actually get 2 vaccinations. They get one at 13 and one at
that's what I'm saying. So you're
17.
like in 7th and 8th grade getting this first vaccination for this, but you turn around and tell me you don't want to look down there. You want to give me something to prevent it, but you don't want to
check me out.
You don't want to check me out to make sure that I'm okay. And that, like she said, that's ridiculous to me.
Well, and that's my argument with women's health is, okay, we sit here and we bitch and we complain about not being taken care of, but really, truly, you're putting all of the onus of the whole baby making and all of that on us. We have a right to bitch about our health care.
Right.
If that's important to you, that we have healthy babies, then we need to be taken care of in the sense of, don't make it confusing for us. Maybe we should go back to annual exams. Yes, it's a pain in the ass. I absolutely hate getting my pelvic exam every year for my birth control pills. It's a pain in the ass. I see my doctor once a year. Sometimes they retire and I have to get a new one within that year. But I would rather have the satisfaction of knowing I'm okay and that I can go another year with being okay. And that's a peace of mind for me. So I agree with you that I think there needs to be more research done and more time spent with women's health on that particular subject. Absolutely.
And then I was going to say, as far as like breast exams, like you said, 40 is usually the standard age to start the mammograms, but also, with the family history, like you said, you knew your mom had, cervical and cancer going on. So, you know, I always tell everybody, be an advocate for yourself, because
Absolutely.
these health insurances, they don't care.
No,
as long as
they
they
don't.
they don't care as long
No,
as they
and
get their money.
unfortunately, doctors are at the mercy of,
And yeah, and
of
it's sad.
insurances.
And it's sad.
I've had it where I've even forgotten, when was my annual
Mhm.
exam, and I will call the doctor up and, oh yeah, we can't see you for another 3 months
Mhm.
because insurance
It's not
won't
your-
cover
yeah.
it.
Yep, it's not your time. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but I feel weird not again.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you just see me to make me feel better?
Mhm. So I would say, usually like around the beginning of the month, you know, check your breasts, ladies. You know, just
Yeah.
kind of look. Don't be afraid to feel on yourself. You know, kind of just examine your breasts. Make sure you don't feel any lumps or bumps or anything unusual going on. So
I would agree with that. Speaking of, I just wanted to share really quick because it was a new experience for me, and it completely traumatized me at first because there wasn't enough information about it. And I actually had my mammogram earlier this year, and they wanted me to do a second one because there was a blurry image. Now, I was told by the nurse that the reason they wanted a second go around was because there was a blurry image. So I went in thinking, okay, they just need to take a fresh picture of my left breast, right? And come to find out, there was something there that they didn't tell me was there, and they couldn't tell whether or not it was a solid or a liquid. So of course they needed to do a biopsy. Now, I don't know about any other woman, but when I hear the word biopsy, I'm like, that is my boob.
Yeah.
And you're not going to destroy my boob by taking a sample of it. So I was very afraid. I was very scared. But the one wonderful thing about my group, my tribe, is that everybody could sense that it was scary for me and helped me see that it's not scary to get a biopsy. What's scary is letting your brain go through the entire process of, they're going to stick this big needle, they're going to cut my boob, and they're going to stick this large needle in my boob. And yes, that's freaky scary to think. I don't even like getting my vaccinations, let alone this big ass needle in my boob. So, I mean, yes, it was scary, but I think if they had done a better job of telling me beforehand, hey, we saw something, we want to get a better look at it, we want to make sure that it's not, we want to rule everything out, I would have gone into that appointment a whole lot more calm and collect. So I think it's definitely what you said. Definitely be an advocate for yourself. If you don't understand what the words are coming out of their mouth, speak up. This is your body. This is your life that you are letting someone else decide what to do with. So definitely I agree with you for sure. So one of the things that I found out about Christy when I started being friends with her is that Christy has found an alternative to just about everything under the sun when it comes to food. So
Getting there.
yeah. So we actually swap recipes every once in a while because I want to see what she can do with it because it's very interesting. So I would kind of like you to tell us about your nutritional stuff that you're doing right now.
Alrighty. Well, I would say, what was it, 3 months ago you had Ruben on your show, Timmy?
Roughly. Well, it might have been 2.
Might have
2
been
months,
2?
yeah.
Tim had a gentleman named Ruben who is vegan and a bodybuilder. I mean, this guy is ripped and very knowledgeable about a lot of things, all nutrition and exercise. And, my significant other and I were beginning to have some health concerns, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. We're showing signs of type 2 and my eyes are going all wonky. My mom was diagnosed with type 2 at 48. I'm knocking on 48's door in a couple months. And we both are overweight, and it keeps us from enjoying life to the fullest because we tire easily, our bodies hurt. So we're like, maybe we ought to try this vegan thing. I have a hard time eating a lot of meat anyways because my kidneys are trash. And I always did good with just like vegetables and rice. I can't go no carb. I tried that keto, about killed me. I need my bread. Okay, I need me a freaking sandwich. So
Makes for angry women.
so I took a lot of the things that, you know, Mark and I enjoy on a normal basis, such as like chili. You know, you add your ground beef, your beans, your sauce. Okay, well, no meat. So we'll try it with just the beans and the other spices. Okay, that's not bad. I'll throw in a can of corn, you know. Hey. We love lasagna.
Sexy.
But if you're vegan, you can't have dairy. And we have a problem digesting dairy anyways because we're old. We old. But you can take like tofu and nutritional yeast and your seasonings and make like a ricotta.
Nice. Okay.
And take your regular noodles. I make sauce. I have a little garden. I make my own homemade tomato sauce. Did that.
And she's amazing.
Nice.
It was almost as good as his. Yes, Timmy.
I need parts.
You need parts? Okay. You need me to make some lasagna. I got one in the freezer ready to go for guests. It's a big one.
Oh yeah, I'm a big one.
So make room in your schedule
One guest.
because you're always working,
Right.
and come on over and I'll give you a good old big old piece of vegan lasagna because I even use the vegan cheeses, and the vegan cheeses like the
I love
smoked
them.
cheddars,
Mhm.
so good, but they don't melt for nothing. They don't. So sometimes, you know, it's like, you know, I see this recipe for loaded taco shells.
Oh,
Okay, well, I
yes.
can make this meatless with some lentils and my refried beans. But you know, this girl needs cheese and cream cheese. I haven't found a vegan alternative for the cream cheese and mayo.
know an alternative to cream cheese, you gotta let Christy know because she will make it the bomb.
I've seen it. I just haven't tried them yet.
Oh, okay.
Like I tried making vegan mayo, and both times were complete utter failures.
I don't even want to know.
So you know,
Tasted like.
I'll go vegetarian for that dish. But yeah,
So that's actually pretty interesting that you
It is.
somehow and I think the reason why I find it so fascinating is because you started off not knowing
I
really
didn't know
anything about vegan way of living or
I a little bit. My my cousin, I stayed with her for a few days, and she's straight up vegan. So she's like, here, try this. Oh, well, we're gonna make a cashew sauce. It's just like an Alfredo. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I made it, you know, like, you know, Alfredo with broccoli and stuff with the cashew sauce. It was good.
So see, that's why I think I find it interesting is because I'm old school and I microwave everything. So when I started getting with Christy and started talking about vegan and stuff, I challenge her now. I'm like, what can you not make? I mean, everything. She's like, oh, I'm just going to do that. And put a
Pinterest
little-
is my friend. I
Oh
find
my
all kinds of recipes on
Goodness.
Pinterest.
Okay. Well, then I guess I will have to dig deeper if I want to challenge her on stuff. So
Yeah. I'll figure it out. It may take me 2 tries, but I'll figure that out.
So I've got about 10 minutes left on this topic, and I kind of wanted to open it up to you guys because Ashley and Lisa are sitting over here just being so sweet. And I just wanted to kind of open it up to everyone what we're talking about on the body. Like, what kinds of stuff do you do, Ashley and Lisa, that will help energize your body, help get you on, you know, step on that floor every morning and get you up during the day? What kinds of stuff do you guys do?
Uh,
I hate to put you on the
No,
spot.
it's fine. I always start my day with water, herbal teas every day. Usually when I get to work, I have my herbs in my tea bags and I make my tea. That really helps me. I walk every hour at work, and it really keeps me up and energized. Or if I'm not at work, you know, I like to be outside. I like to be in the sun when the sun is out because we do live in Ohio, so wintertime comes, that's a little tough. But I get outside as much as I can. That really helps my energy through the day.
Mine is my vanilla iced coffee. I know I get up, wake up, it's calling my name.
No, trust me, I get you. I get you. Coffee somehow is just one of those. I think I make it too strong though, because I can't even get through a whole cup.
You can't chew it. It's
Oh, I need that. I need that
Oh,
coffee.
Lord have mercy. I think I drank a half a cup. So my mom actually bought me some, you know, when your mom comes to visit, she spoils you.
Mhm.
So my mom bought me some Starbucks French roast coffee. So I'm living it up for the next week or two until my poor ass has to go back to generic brand. But it is really nice coffee. But I will say it is very, very strong. So yes, first thing in the morning, it's a must. My eyes
Yes.
don't even open fully until I have some sort of coffee.
Something get me going.
Yeah. So let's actually migrate into my next topic. I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about the mind. I know, Lisa, with what you do at your business, that you deal with a lot of challenges. So one thing that is very, very hard when you're dealing with a challenge like that, where you're the adult in the situation or you're the person in charge. What kinds of things do you do after a really, well, let's not even say a bad day, a really tough day, where communication is down, you're not getting your point across, people are going crazy wild, and you just want to walk away and go throw yourself into the ocean? What do you do?
Sounds like a typical day for me. Usually, I go home and be in Ohio. I try to get, like she said, like the sun as much as I can. I go out to my pool, and my pool has this little jet thing that you go around and around. I get on my float and this thing. You know,
Oh my
You
God,
know,
that's so
yeah.
much fun.
like sometimes I'll fall asleep, and it kind of, because it little short naps does help. You know, relaxes your body and stuff. And then when you wake up, it's always okay. I can do this. You know,
I
so
agree.
it just refreshes you.
Okay, so like physically, what do you, well, I shouldn't say physically, nutritionally, do you try to eat appropriately, or do you just go, that coffee is all I need for the day?
Be honest with you, coffee is one thing I really get for today. I'm not home enough to really cook like I should, you know, like she does. That's not my life at all. I'm on the go all the time, you know, less sleep, less time for myself, you know, so whatever I can get throughout the day, I try to get. I eat a lot of Chipotle, you know. You know, that's the way it is. Chicken, the rice, and vegetables, that's
At
what
least
I
it's
like.
somewhat healthy,
Yes,
you know?
I mean, that's my go-to thing. I really like Chipotle, so I try, if I do have time for that lunch, that's usually what my go-to is.
Now, is a meal prep thing, anything in your world possible?
If I get home early enough, yes.
Okay.
But sometimes I get home and have to go right back to work.
Right.
So it's kind of, I'm on the go, like I said, on the go all the time. So I don't
Okay.
really get that time for me to really shut down and be able to do what I want to do.
Right. So in your opinion, what can someone do that's in your shoes? I mean, I know you want to do better for yourself,
Yeah, definitely.
but it's really, really hard when you're not even home for 5 minutes enough to breathe, let alone see what you got in your fridge.
Yeah.
So what are some alternatives that people might be able to, or women might be able to do? Because I know a lot of women in your shoes.
We just need to, as a woman, we need to like to stop and just, you know, when people's there blowing your phone up, we just gotta like shut it off. That's what I'm starting to think that, you know, I should do, and I'm gonna start trying it. This is my new thing for September. I'm shutting my
Challenge
phone off. Yes,
accepted.
It's gonna
yes.
feel so
I'm gonna
good.
have to learn how to shut that phone off for at least an hour and just focus on myself. If that is meal prepping or just, you know, shutting myself down.
Right.
So
I think
that's what I
it's
think
more,
that we should do.
and meal prepping never worked for me. I don't know if you guys ever tried. Well, I know
Oh,
you
yeah.
do.
I do.
But meal prepping for me never worked when I was in my 30s and my kids were, you know, I'm a single parent. So it's like meal prepping consisted of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and pre-packed chips. You know, that was meal prep for me. So I did the Weight Watchers, and I tried to do the different hey, take a Sunday afternoon and just cook a bunch. But, you know, cooking a bunch of food on an afternoon makes me hungry. And then I'm going to eat it. And I'm not going to put it in containers and put it in the fridge.
No.
So
My meal prepping is actually, I did the keto thing. I'm still doing the keto thing. I just order the meals, and that is my meal prepping. Like I set, like, when I get them in, like I said, like, okay, this right here is what I'm having for this day, this day, this day. And I just put them in a pile because, you know, I don't want, like, my husband, he still lives there. So I don't want him to, like, touch my food. So
absolutely not.
So that is kind of like my really quick meal prepping as I'm going out the door or whatever.
Okay.
So
what
that
about you,
works.
Ashley? What kinds of stuff do you do to kind of decompress after a really tough day?
After a really tough day, I like to work out or
Okay.
get outside. If I can't work out at lunch, that's kind of like my ideal thing at work is when I work out at lunch, it gives me more energy and it kind of just helps me push through my day a little more grounded. But I work out. That's what I do. I work out. It helps me. I take out all that aggression in my workout, and I feel good afterward.
That's good. And do you feel like you accomplished something after you just let that all go like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It takes. I feel like all that stress and stuff. It creates a block. And if I don't let it out, it's going to be bothering me, or I won't be as creative when I'm editing. I do that a lot in my spare time, or I won't really be able to relax and enjoy myself. While
Right.
So I have to get it out.
So one of the things that I learned was that you do. Okay, you got to tell me again what it is that you do. You do holistic black magic.
So we have a network. It's Holistic Black Magic. It is a space for Black entrepreneurs. There's a lot of different people that do a lot of different things. For me, I am an editor. I'm a photographer. I am an herbalist, so I have herbal skincare products that I do,
Nice.
and I make and I use my family, and I sell. And then there's other like-minded people. We have a master herbalist on our team, and he's really big into detoxing. So we offer a lot of that during the seasons. We have events that we throw. We have shows, podcasts. So it's a hub.
So
for
it's
a lot.
it's like a kind of like a go-to community
Mhm.
thing for someone in the Black community can go to you guys to get some stuff done.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
you guys just have like I always think of it as like I always wanted to buy land down in Wyoming, but to just kind of like put a bunch of people in their little shops,
Mhm.
and each one has a specialty that you go to for anything that topic. So it's kind of like your tribe for, and you need your sink unclogged. Hey, I know a guy.
Right.
I love that.
Right.
That's awesome. So one of the things that Lisa does is she owns her own business, and you kind of described it a little bit when we first started. What exactly is Growing Wings, and how does it incorporate into decompressing for you? Like, what techniques do you do with your clients and stuff?
Well, when they get upset, which all my clients they're all different. It could be autistic, you know, they can be just intelligent, you know, just you can't really tell some of them that, you know, they really do have issues, you know, and I don't want to put like a lot of issues on there because then you label them, and I don't like
Right.
to label them because I look at them as a person,
Right.
you know, so it's just many different things that's wrong with them. And when they do have a bad day, it's our job to try to make them have a good day. You know, I mean, that's how I feel. Like I like the hands-on.
Right.
So when they're having a bad day, if I make them feel good, that makes me feel good because I know that I did something good for that day. I don't go praise myself about it or anything like that, but
No,
I
but
know
you do have that
I
little
do.
bit of
Yeah, it makes me feel good,
Yeah.
making sure they have that smile on their face.
Right.
If I make, you know, if they're having a really super bad day or something that I can't fix, it don't make me feel good. Like I'm a fixer. So I try to go down the line and try to think of things to help to fix their day, at least try to make them feel better about themselves that day.
No, do
You know?
you try some of these techniques on yourself when you're doing your own decompressing?
Sometimes, like if I'm not trying to be happy for myself, I can't make them happy.
Right.
So if I'm seeing they're happy and they're making me happy, it kind of like balances ourselves out.
Okay.
You know, so if I'm in there and if I have a bad mood, or if I'm, I try to leave that stuff at the door, because that's what I always tell all my aides. If you're having a bad day, you're having like whatever problem, keep yourself outside. Bring a new you inside, because they read on that. They pick up on that. So as much as we are picking up if they're having a bad day. So we can't all in the same house have a bad day, or in the same area have a bad day, because it just makes it bad. So it's our jobs to go in there and make sure they have a bad, not their bad day turn into a good, positive
No,
day.
that's good. That's good. Yeah. So actually, one of the things I kind of want to talk to all of you about is music. I know that we all, in some way, even talk radio is music to some. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say it does make sense to us all, but some it is soothing. So what kind of ways do you use music? Like when you're super, super stressed, do you do meditation? What kinds of things do you do with music? Because I know everybody uses music in some way to center themselves. And what might be right for me definitely is not right for my daughter, who decompresses through death metal. So, I mean,
I could do that.
Yes. Both of my children do that. I don't know. I do listen to metal sometimes when I'm really want to punch something, and it does decompress me in a weird way. but what do you do with it? Like when you're decompressing for the day, do you do something, or you just sit there and you let things what do you do?
I put on Pandora and my Rob Zombie station, 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson. I get my soaping done, my meal prepping done, my house cleaning done. It gets me going.
And do you find that helps with when you are angry or confused, or just it's all a bunch of scribble marks in your head?
When I'm angry, when I'm depressed, music is the last thing I put on.
Really?
I can't do it, because those songs put me in a place that reminds me of why I'm sad, why I'm mad.
Gotcha.
So I can't do that. So that's if it's sunny out, or even if it's a light rain, and I'll go do yard work. I'll do something physical to where it silences.
So music doesn't
the voices.
necessarily work in the same way for you.
It does not.
Okay.
It does the opposite.
Okay. So what about you, Jocelyn?
It depends on like going into work. It can sometimes be annoying and irritating. No, I love my job though. I love being a nurse.
No, that is a human response, honey. That is a human response. I can't go into work and not feel a certain way sometimes.
So yeah, usually on my way to work, I'll put on like my as we call it, my ratchet music. I kind of like dance and just make myself, get up, beating, feel good, right? Have myself up
That's
to,
when Eye of the Tiger comes on for me, and when I'm trying to be like,
so go in and
So
get to my day.
When you listen to your music, do you do more like sitting there meditating, going over everything, that trying to sort out what exactly it is that's triggering the aggression or anything, or do you actually like dance it out, exercise it out, run it out, just listening to your music? How do you do that?
I like to clear my mind and dance it out in the car. So I know the next person over there.
I'm that person
over
too.
there in that car.
If I make eye contact, you're dancing
right,
too.
that is just being alone in the car, and those good jam sessions are just.
I definitely enjoy those good jam sessions. I've been told I can put popcorn, people can throw popcorn when I do it. So I agree with that. I don't care if you can see me or not. When you're in that mood, you just got to do something.
Yes.
Now, what about you, Ashley?
So for me, there is music for every single mood. Everything has a song or music that can help me with that. I mean, obviously, if I'm happy, there's so much music. But if I can't focus, I listen to some lo-fi jazz sometimes to try to get into the focus mood. If I want to meditate, there's always music for that. Yoga, same thing. I kind of use similar music for yoga and meditation. Working out is always hip hop. I have to have the beat to work out.
Yes, I agree.
My headphones. Oh. Right. I just have to put my phone microphone close to my ear so I can hear. It won't be too loud. The music helps me all the way around. If I'm pretty upset and I can't really kind of figure out what it is, maybe I'll put on some music and go outside and get into the garden. When it's sunny out, it's just music for every mood.
What about you, Lisa?
Like her, Rob Zombie, Metallica, all that stuff like that. Heavy metal. I had a bad day probably about a couple months ago, and we have a day program that we actually have a music room in there, and we karaoke, we make CDs and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So I was having a bad day, and then two clients I'm the most closest to, it's like I had them forever, you know, like we're friends more than like their clients. They're like my kid. And so we're going there. I'm like, you guys ready today? They're like, yeah, Mom, what you putting on? I'm like, we're putting some Metallica on. I mean, we're all set.
Do they karaoke with you?
Oh, heck yeah. We was on there karaoke, and it was hand banging. It was talking about, by the time I got done with that day, the stress was just gone. Everything in my mind was gone. So,
that is so
like I said, like we feed off each other, and they was having a bad day too. So it just worked all the way around.
No, and I do truly believe that music has a stronger connection with us when it comes to stuff like that, because like I said, metal when I'm mad just makes me not mad. I don't know why, but for some reason it decompresses that part of me. When I listen to my pop, I feel like a teenager again. I mean, I'm dancing like a fool in my kitchen while I'm cooking, you know. It's just those. I agree with you absolutely. Music has a more meaning to us than that. As far as like our listeners or whatever, what are some good tips as far as what kinds of things you can do with music? Because I think people think that when you're decompressing, you're sitting there just listening to your favorite songs, trying not to feel bad. But I know there's so much more that we can do with music in general. So what are some kind of suggestions in the world in your worlds that makes sense that you're maybe not doing right now, but maybe it's an option for other people?
Say you're in a bad frame of mind. Music from like maybe your youth, like a happier times, like some of the 80s music, like the song by Take On Me.
Yeah.
That takes me back to when in middle school we would go to Carroll Skateland and go roller skating, and I always had fun with my friends. That helps. So if you pick music that brings you back to a happy time, it's going to help snap you out of whatever it is that's going on, even if it's for that moment.
And you know, I did actually find recently, like those songs that you completely forget about that trigger so many memories.
Yes.
I'm posting and tagging people like, "Well, do you remember when we did this? Oh my gosh!" And they're like, "I haven't thought about that in ages." And I'm like, "See?" So yeah, I agree that's a good tip to have. Yeah. What about you, Jocelyn? What do you think people could do with music to kind of, as Christy said, snap them out of whatever mood they're in? Is sitting the best option, just to sit there and listen to music?
I think like everybody's different, so I think you should try to figure out what works for you. If sitting is something you need to do in a quiet corner or something, and just relax and just take the music in and feel better, then do that. Or nowadays trying to me and my one friend was just talking at work, trying to like do the dance moves to some TikTok videos. And we're like, we're gonna get this. We gotta go home and practice to the different songs, so then we can post the TikTok video. It does.
That actually made my day the other day. My daughter and her best friend were working out a TikTok in the dining room, and I just went and got my coffee, came back in, but just I'm like, man, if she could focus on her studies as hard as she's focusing on learning that song. But you're right. You're absolutely right that it definitely has to be something that works for you.
Yes.
That's why I just suggestions, because a lot of women, like I said, are isolated silos. We all think we've got our own our own shit. And a lot of times that that silo makes you forget the fact that every woman's got shit. And sometimes they figured out how to get past your shit and needs help figuring out how to get past their shit. So, I mean, that's why it's important for us to have those suggestions, because even if it doesn't work for us, I think, you know, just trying out TikToks or something that's going to snap you out of that mood, something goofy, something stupid that you're not going to want a whole lot of people knowing that you did something, but that's okay, because of the fact that that's going to snap you out of whatever mood and you'll be a better person for it. So absolutely. I love that. How about you, Ashley? What kinds of things do you think people could do with music that
so many.
I know.
If you have a young one like I do, turn on some music. It could be something like you guys said, something like a blast from the past, like turn on an era, maybe 90s music, and just grab the little, dance with them. They'll love that. You can walk. You could clean up the house if you like cleaning the music. That'd be a good way to get your mind out of it. You'll be remembering songs and dancing and cleaning. Just getting up.
I agree.
Definitely moving.
So what kind of songs do you listen to with your kid?
I listen to everything. With my kid, I like to listen to line dance songs that I can dance to.
Oh, nice.
So maybe like a wobble or cha-cha, like just things that you can dance to.
Well, that's
I'm just trying to
cool.
think about like dances that people would actually know off the top of their head, but those
No,
types
that's
of
kind of
songs.
cool, because that also kind of teaches them how to do those dances too, and they'll be the life of the party later on.
Yeah.
You know, being able to do the electric slide.
Right, because that was never going to stop.
And they'll be that generation like, I can't believe that the younger generation knows
Right.
the electric slide.
Exactly.
The electric slide, the cotton eye judge.
It's never going to go away.
Never, not at all.
What about you, Lisa?
I'm finding myself listening to new music. Right now, I got a couple of people that I'm very close to that live in Nigeria. So they've been like sending me different music to listen to. And yeah, it's like African music is so different than our music. It's, to me, like it's relaxing, trying to figure out, you know, actually what they're saying, even though it's like some of it's broken English and some of it you can really tell what English they're, you know, they're saying. Just trying to listen to it. It just, the music in the background, just, it's very relaxing. So I think finding something new that you have to pay attention to, that you can focus on, relax it,
That's actually a good tip,
Yeah.
because that does help you focus when you listen to a new song. I'm totally concentrating on what the lyrics are saying, so I can impress all my friends that I know a song I listened to once. So, but it does change your
vitality in your brain. It gets you like,
you're not
to
even thinking
concentrate.
about what you were
Exactly.
thinking about, because you're thinking
Exactly.
about what they're saying. On
Takes
the
your mind off of it.
Absolutely, I agree. That's awesome. I like that. I would say dance while you're eating. That is a fun thing for me to do to decompress. Is dancing. I take that bite. I enjoy every bit of it, and my body tells that food how happy they are to have it. But it's just more just because it's out of the norm. What is your normal funk? Then don't do that to decompress. Do something completely new and different. You might actually find that you actually enjoy dancing while you eat. And heck, it's always good for a few laughs. My kids at this point are rolling their eyes at me, but it's always good, because when I have guests over and they see me dancing while I eat, they're like, wait, what did I just get myself into?
It's a trend. It's like, come on, try it.
Now we all dance while we eat. So I actually, our last topic, I kind of want to spend the most time on, because I do feel that it's a very, very important part of our health, is our spirituality, how we feel about the universe, how the universe feels about us. Are we whole with the universe? Is there blockage? One of the things I discovered about myself over this last year is that I spend more time putting up dams in the flow of my river than I do letting it flow. So that is one thing that I work on every day, is when I am snappy at somebody or I'm saying crap under my breath, why? Why am I doing that? What is it about that situation, that person that just is messing with me in the point where I can't even be peaceful within myself? So I did actually look up, because one of the things I didn't know is the definition of peace. The definition of peace is inner peace comes from knowing your beliefs and the willingness to act accordingly to them. It takes mental muscle to do so. So we're basically exercising our brains by finding peace every day. And that if you don't realize that exercising your brain is a way that you continuously become smarter, more knowledgeable, more wisdom. So if we are not taking the time to actually think about a situation and finding peace with it, we're not doing ourselves any justice, and we're not making ourselves any smarter, any more wiser, and we're not learning from any of our experiences. So one of my techniques that I use for finding that inner peace is being alone. And I know that sounds hokey and I know it sounds stereotypical, but when I say I'm alone, I'm not alone. I'm more in a room by myself with nobody else in it, but I'm not alone because I've got my thoughts. I'm talking to the universe. I'm trying to figure out what is causing this blockage in my flow. And that's really what I define as finding peace, is finding that blockage and releasing it so that everything flows perfectly. Now, that's my opinion. What is your opinion, Christy?
Sitting on our front porch, having a cold drink. Yes, I'm a smoker. So smoking a cigarette, watching the deer, the birds, the clouds, just being able to go in, process whatever it is that's bothering me, and kind of forming a plan. Just by the sounds of nature, or sometimes hearing, one of the neighbor kids, giggling because, they're playing ball with their friend. Just so I can just figure it out without any outside influences. So by the time Mark comes home from work, whatever it was that's bothering me, I've worked out so he doesn't have to deal with my shit. That's good. I can deal with his shit. And then we've dealt with that. And then, we're goofballs the rest of the night and call it a day.
What about you, Jocelyn?
So for me, like I just recently started a new job and it's like right off the lake. So lately, like either,
nice.
Before I go home or on my lunch break, I'll just walk because like right at the end of, basically in our backyard to where we work at. So I'll just go and just like sit in the grass and just listen to the water hit the rocks and just listen to the waves.
That's nice.
And
I like that.
just kind of like clear my mind and think, and it's just been so peaceful lately.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Ashley?
It's a couple things that bring me peace. Sitting in my sunroom, I have a sunroom. Fortunately, it's not heated, so like in the wintertime, it is cold. But I mean, bundle up. But I like to sit out there. I like to look outside, listen to the wind, especially if it's early in the day, because I am a morning person. So if I get up, I usually get up with the sun, and it's nice to be able to sit there, decompress. Hopefully, I don't have anything bothering me that early. But if it is something bothering me, I can listen to, depending on what it is, it's music for every mood. I can listen to that and it helps me process, because I like to process through the things that I'm going through. So that way I can continue to offer my best self throughout the rest of the day. If I don't process it, I feel like, again, it's always just going to have that hold or that block on me, and I'll just never be able to be free.
I got you.
So that's one of the things that brings me the most peace.
Do you think that having that feeling of free of your thoughts, free of just whatever is getting you, what does that do for you?
My energy is high. I feel happy. I feel like I can smile. I can accept other things, blessings, other things that come my way. I feel like I can actually accept that when I'm feeling free.
That's good. That's good. What about you, Lisa?
I sit out on my deck. And back in my house, there's woods, so I get to hear like the hawks and the crows, and I just kind of like concentrate on what's around me. I have my waterfall and my pool, which is very relaxing.
Oh, yes.
And I have my plants that's really colorful out there. So I just kind of like just take in all the nature and the sounds and just drink my coffee and just let it go.
So I know that there are some ladies out there that are single moms, and there's a lot of us out there, but of the younger generations, I would say the 20s and the 30s. And I remember that time. I remember it very, very vividly. And I remember not having someone there to tell me it's okay to take a moment. Your kids are not going to die. They're going to be just fine. But it's very hard for women in their 20s and 30s when they're raising kids, and finding that moment, finding that peace, allowing yourself to be okay with taking a moment away from your responsibilities. What are some things that we can do as women to show other women it's okay that you're not perfect? It's okay that you don't have it all together. It's okay that you're finding your peace, because the kids are not going to be okay until you're okay. What are some things that the 20s and 30s women could do in the, I mean, we're talking 3-4 kids. We're talking, from the time they wake up in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock at night, they're constantly on the go. They work full time. They don't have time to sit like we do. What are some tips that we can give them to find that little tiny moment in their day? It's not going to be very big, but they need to know it's okay to do it. What are some things that they can do?
Back when I was a single mom, my daughter had a set bedtime, 8 o'clock. So between 8 and 9, that was my time of the day to just to where I could go to sleep, to where when I wake up, I'm in a good mood. I'm refreshed. Well, as refreshed as you can.
Yes.
But I can get through another day. I set that aside. We had a routine. We stuck with the routine. Now, granted, as she got older, the routine would kind of change. But you also teach your children as they grow older some more independence. You know where the snacks are in the fridge. If you're thirsty or you need a snack, you know where the carrots are. You know where your juice box is. Mommy needs, I just want to take a shower.
Right. Okay.
You got this. It's okay. I don't need you attached to the hip while I'm going to the bathroom. Teach your kids some independence, at different stages of life.
When it's appropriate.
Yeah, when it's appropriate. So by the time they're like 10, 12, they can make themselves a sandwich. They can get themselves a bowl of cereal.
That's a good suggestion.
You got time, you can just stretch out on the couch for a few minutes, flipping through TikTok, just to kind of.
Right. I like that idea. I do. What about you, Jocelyn? What's something that maybe if you had when you were in your 20s and 30s, now, what would you tell the you then?
So I would, like you said, don't feel guilty for taking a moment to yourself. I know you always feel like, oh my God, my kids are dependent on me. They're gonna need me every second moment of the day. But you have to, like you said, take care of yourself first, because if you don't, the whole house is gonna fall apart. So I would suggest, like, even just say if you're driving home from work, before you go in the house, take 10 to 15 minutes, sit in silence, cry, or listen to your favorite song, or just relax your mind before you go into the chaos.
That's actually a good suggestion. I don't think many women realize that just because you're in a routine does not mean you can't prolong certain pieces of your routine and stretch them out, like you suggested. You don't have to jump out of the car right away and run inside to see what everybody needs. You can sit there and finish the song you were loving when you got on the way home. You can restart it if you need to. So just, I think my mic went out.
I hear you.
Do you? I can't hear me. All right. Oh, See, it keeps doing that. But yeah, that's basically, I agree. I think women aren't told enough that if you're taking 5 extra minutes in the toilet, take the 5 extra minutes. You don't necessarily have to actually have an hour long, number 2. You can sit there and finish that chapter or finish that thought. It's okay. And yes, the kids are going to be banging at the door. Yes, they're going to be yelling, mommy, 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 mommy. That's never going to stop. I hate to tell you, ladies, that there's no hope there. Okay. They're going to be under tow because you're mom. But that doesn't mean that we as moms can't do better for our kids by taking care of ourselves. So that's absolutely, I agree. What are some things you think, Ashley?
I actually want to piggyback off of that because I was going to say the same thing. You realizing that you can do stuff with the time that you have, the drive to work, that is time. It may not seem like it at first, but it is time. That's the time that you can listen to your favorite song. If you want to write in silence and just kind of breathe or, just process your day, you can do that while you're writing. And in the shower, in the bathroom, after you take a shower, when you get that time, mirror speeches. I like mirror speeches.
Oh, I like mirror speeches. I like making faces in the mirror just to make myself laugh.
Speak life into yourself in those moments. But you are the asset, and you definitely have to take care of yourself in order for you to function properly, so you can help take care of others that you may have. So just utilizing the time that you have. That's my biggest advice.
So what about you, Lisa?
So basically, I was a single mom, and I did things like what Christy said, like set a time and stuff like that, and I had a little bit of time for myself. But whenever I say I was a single mom by myself, I was by myself. What I missed and what I would tell people is try to find that one person that if you're having like a really bad day, reach out and make that phone call, say, okay, this is happening, I need help, let me vent or whatever. I never had that person. It was me, myself, and I. That was it. I missed that. Hey, like, I'm having this bad day. What are you doing? How do you do this? You have kids, because at that time, none of my friends had kids. I was the only one.
Oh, geez, that makes it even harder.
Yes, so like, it was like my mom and dad wasn't in the picture, so I was by myself.
Yeah.
So I would love to have that person that I can call to and say, hey, look, what are you doing? How are you decompressing? Let me vent to you just for that 5 minutes.
And it's
that
okay
you have by
to
yourself.
say bad things about your
Yes.
kids. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It is okay. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you're human,
Right.
and that these are other human beings that are pissing you off.
Right.
It's no different than a grown-ass adult pissing you off.
Right.
Just because they don't understand all of why you're upset doesn't mean that doesn't trigger that emotion. And I don't
Right.
think a lot of women get that. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay not to love your kids 24/7. It's okay to not love them and want to be by their side 24 hours a day. It's okay. You missed a soccer game. Okay, you missed one soccer game. It's not the end of the
There's
world.
gonna be a lot more.
Right. And I think
Right.
that's really what it is with peace, and is we don't get told enough by other women. I don't think it's necessarily anything the men are doing wrong or right. I think it's more women don't hear from other women. We don't hear those praises. We don't hear, hey, oh my God, that's beautiful on you. We don't hear those things. We hear judgment.
Right.
Well, why didn't you go to the game? Shouldn't you be at your son's game?
Right.
I did experience once, I got a lot of criticism when one of my daughter was having her birthday, and birthday fell on Beer and Wings night. I went to Beer and Wings night. I had her birthday. She had the entire weekend. Why do I need to celebrate her birthday on a night that's my night out? I'm not a bad mom. I just moved the day. It's no big deal. So that's another thing that we need to take in turn. Is that just because somebody says it's not okay doesn't mean it is. It just means they don't think it's okay. And in their opinion, they're going to tell you it's not okay. But you know what? I've been screwing my kids up since they were born. I don't know what I'm doing. Who does?
Right, exactly.
You know?
Like it goes with a manual.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You know, and you know what? I look at them today. They're 23 and 17, and I did a horrible job, in my opinion, as a mom. Now, do people tell me I do a good job? Yeah. But in myself, I let things happen in their lives that should have never even happened. And because of that, I'm a bad mom in my eyes. I had to forgive myself for that. I had to allow peace to enter my head that I did just fine with the way I had, the circumstances I was under, the decisions, the facts of what was going on at the time. I didn't have any control over what everybody else was doing. I have to allow myself that peace that I did what I thought was right at the time. Doesn't make it right. Just, you know, it's all I had. So that's another thing. I think there's not enough women supporting women in the fact that, yeah, you're going to feel guilty because you forgot their birthday, because you were so overwhelmed with making sure they had a roof over their head and clothes, and they got a good education and food and everything else that helps them to be better people. And you forgot one thing. Come on. I forgot the candles on my daughter's 10th birthday party. She lost it. But I looked, but you got your hair done. You got your nails done. You got a pretty dress. You got a cake. You got friends at your party. Candles on a cake ain't so bad. I did pretty good with that birthday. You know, it doesn't matter that I forgot one thing. So that's another thing that I think is important for women to also understand is it's okay to make mistakes. You know, it's okay if your son goes unobserved and starts drinking hair dye and you freak out and you know you got to call poison control. It's okay that you weren't there that second that he did that, because that was
escalated quickly.
Well, I'm just talking babies. I'm just talking babies do silly things that you do.
Because they will find the smallest, or you'd be like, where did you find that at to get that in your mouth? Like,
I didn't even know I had fuzzies on the floor.
Like,
So, I mean, that's the other thing is I had spent way more time in the emergency room with my son those first couple of years than I did his whole life. And I did tell him, all grown up now, he does more damage to himself than I could have ever done. So I think we're fair, you know, but like in your personal lives, did you ever feel like, Lisa, you didn't have anybody,
Right.
What did you do? I mean,
Mine was a day-to-day learning experience as I went. Like nobody told me how to put that diaper on right. You know, I never had nobody show me anything like that. And I wasn't raised around babies and kids.
Right.
It was just me and my brother. That was it. And so everything was a learning experience. Like I just kind of winged it a lot, you know, as they say, you know, and watching shows, you know, that was on TV at the time, you know, kind of learning from that. Not so much talk shows, because back in the 80s and the 70s, you know, they didn't really have all those talk shows.
They didn't have Dr. Phil telling us how to raise our kids.
Exactly. So you just kind of, I mean, he's a good kid. I mean, I did something right, you know.
Right.
So.
No, and I think that's what's important. I really do, is that, you know, you don't get to see the results until after the fact. So you're sitting here going, I know I got to be good and raising good kids. They're not going to go to jail. They're not going to, you know, break somebody's heart. They're not going to be a bad person, but you don't have control over that.
Right.
You can only do what you, like you said, basically you taught yourself how to be a mom.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know? And I think in a lot of situations we do spend a lot of time teaching ourselves how to be moms, because some of the crackpot, I'm sorry, but some of the crackpot stuff out there today would have not flied in my house. It would not. You know, but I also took here's another thought to think about too. I was reading some posts in Facebook, and one of them was, what does this generation lack that makes their life exceptional versus what we had? And everybody's listing, you know, discipline and spankings and stuff. And I said imagination, because really what this generation is lacking is being allowed to be a kid. And I think sometimes we forget we get to be kids too. That's okay for us to be kids too with our kids.
Right.
So in that spirit, what kinds of things did you do with your kids? Well, you still are doing with your kids, Ashley. What did you kind of do with your kids to help them be kids and let them grow up normal in the home where fun was okay? What kinds of things did you do that it helps yourself?
My daughter and I, we did crafts. I also like to take furniture and refinish it. So she loved the little sander. She was my sanding queen. So she did a little painting, but she really loved sanding. She would sand stuff so smooth.
Oh, that's so nice.
We walked through like the craft section. Oh, look, melt and pour soaps. That's how I got into making soaps. It was a little melt and pour. Oh, well, we can put this stuff in and make it smell pretty. So crochet. Taught my daughter how to crochet. Took her to some crochet conferences and stuff. And
How fun.
yeah, she learned how to spin wool on a spindle. She rocked it. I cannot do spindles. Cannot. It's everywhere. Just hands-on kind of stuff.
But it doesn't have to be hokey or kid necessarily related, right? You don't
Right.
necessarily have to do, the teeny bopper little carve out like horses and stuff that you paint by hand. You know what I'm saying? Like Hobby Lobby has all of these different
No, I'm
crafty
cheap.
kids stuff.
Unless you're whittling out of a piece of wood, you just finished sanding. No.
Okay, see, that's what I say. Sometimes you need more adult learning. I mean, that's how I grew up. I was whittling wood by the time I was 10 at the fireplace.
And if
That was something that you do. Was it smart to give a 10-year-old a sharp buck knife? Absolutely not. But I learned a new skill that way. How about you, Jocelyn? What kinds of stuff did you do with your kids to because having fun with your kids is, in my opinion, is another way to decompress and find peace.
So I still have a young one too. So a lot of
Oh,
times,
okay.
like we, my youngest is 6, so we'll go to like just the park and just get on the slides and get on the swing, get on the swings because he loves going to the park. He's actually, like I said, I told you guys earlier off air that I'm like run a garden in my apartment. So
Oh,
he likes
nice.
to help me replant the plants and water the plants and just, we'll, talk about the different plants and everything. Just like the
And
little
those-
things, or even like I always say, like try to find something that they like as well. He likes his Nintendo Switch, so I'll sit there and play a game of Mario Kart with him. Just I don't know what I'm doing, but it's just his mommy and me time. He likes that I'll sit there and play with him.
And those are stories that they're going to have long past is when mommy sat down and played Switch with me. That was like the best. And you got out of it that you got time with your kid, but you also got you could just let yourself be.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be Jocelyn. You didn't have to be this nurse and all the roles that we play. You got to just play.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. What about you, Ashley?
So we go outside. My son loves to be outside. Though this past weekend, we got a chance to do some gardening, minor landscaping. Loves to get his hands dirty. I let him take his shoes off and everything.
Oh, nice.
Put your
Love
feet
it.
in the dirt. I mean, whatever you want to do, go ahead, go for it. Outside activities is definitely a big one. Crafting. He doesn't like paint on his hands, but he likes to paint. We can do painting. He loves
So no
like,
finger
counting
painting,
his
but
numbers.
he'll
No-
take a brush.
no finger painting. If he gets on his hands, he completely done. And those are some of the small things, and it makes me feel like a kid again too, because I was always outside, and it's just
Right.
it's a nice experience.
Well, and they get to see you as a kid too. And I think
Mhm.
that's important because we spend so much time being disciplinarians or keeping them in their lane or making sure they're good humans that we forget that they also need to see us having a good time, see us enjoying life because they're going to enjoy their life more if we enjoy our lives. So what about you, Lisa?
Well, I was never a girly girl, so having a son helped. So we used to go play little Max Kart, the Match Kart, little cars in dirt. We used to go play in the mud. Mud was always fun. We,
Mud
slip and
is
slide
so
in the
much
mud.
fun.
Yeah, dirt bike. We used to do the 4-wheelers, anything outside getting dirty and just being that little tomboy that I am. You know, we just went out and have fun like that. Climbing trees. I mean, the neighborhood, you know, like where we was living at that point, the little boy down the street was always on the Nintendos and, you know, the PlayStation, stuff like that. Well, my kid was in the mud. Now today, my kid, he's really, you know, he's a good kid and he does, you know, a successful job. The other kid's already in prison. So go ahead. So, you know,
We're not saying video games
No, I'm
cause
just
people
saying,
to go to prison.
Go into the mud. But I got made fun of because we were in the mud. You know what I mean?
No, I
Screw
did.
that crap,
I
you
did
know?
that too with my kids. Unfortunately, they did not have the same love for getting dirty and muddy as I did. So
Right.
I actually had to almost force my children to go out into nature and stuff. So, but it also, I mean, Mother's Day was Mother's Day and birthday, you do what I want. We're going out in the woods,
Yeah, right.
you know,
Right.
but at the same time, my kids got into their own stuff. They got
Right.
in, my daughter got into playing guitar and skateboarding. My son got into metal bands and going to concerts and traveling, you know, so it's also me forcing them, hey, you don't like my stuff? Go find something that you do like then, you know, but it gave me that sense of connection with my kids. Because we're doing something that you don't get to do with your friends because we're doing it with me. And when I go out in the woods, it's an entire, we've just moved from one reality into another, you know, so everything's a portal, you know, to the magic land or something like that. Whatever we could do to get them to go out into the woods, I would play pretend with them in the woods so that they would get out and get some oxygen and get some life in them instead of standing or sitting in front of technology all the time. Because I do believe that in technology does impact our kids in a way negative way, or I should say in some negative ways. In some ways, my daughter is way more educated now because of technology. She's way smarter now because of technology. However, and also some skills she's lacking, like just normal everyday things that we take for granted, she doesn't have because of technology. So I do agree that getting your kids away from that and as we say, disconnecting from the world for a little bit, I agree. Fine. It's not just about our peace, because our kids give us that peace. And if we're not straight with them, if we're not doing a good job through them, we're not doing a good job for ourselves. That kind of leads me to the topic of forgiveness, because I think forgiveness is a overly washed statement. I don't think people truly take forgiveness seriously as they used to. When somebody says, I'm sorry, it is that simple. It should always be that simple. You feel remorse for something you did that did something to somebody else. I think we as a society overcomplicate forgiveness. Now you have to do something to prove that you're truly sorry for doing something to somebody to hurt their feelings. I disagree with that. So one of the things that I was looking at, again, looking for some sort of guidance, I read a definition and I wanted to see how you guys felt about it. So forgiveness, to the psychologists of the world, says that psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you. So if you're making a conscious, deliberate decision to forgive somebody for something that they have done for you, in my opinion, bless you, it should wash that out. That circumstance should wash out. If you truly are asking forgiveness and you're granting forgiveness for a harm, it should wash it out. It doesn't exist anymore. There is no reason why you need to bring that up in an argument. There's no reason why you need to completely rehash it. Now, when I was going through psychology, one of the things that they tell you is that every single time you bring something that's been forgiven up in an argument, you're bringing it to a present. Yep. It's no longer a past, it's a present. So now you're rehashing or reopening a wound that's already healed. And that is something that we as people, I think, need to really dig deep. Why do we do that? Because we're not intentionally trying to hurt people. I hope not. So, I mean, why do we feel the need to constantly bring up something that both parties involved have already washed away? Why is that? Why do we do that? Do you know? I mean, what did you do? What did you?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
it's like
horrible
we
at
do
that.
not forget.
Exactly.
Well, there's not forgetting, but there's also not, I always say I will forgive you, but I won't forget. So it's not giving that person the same access to you as they had before, but it's also, we do it with our loved ones. We do it with our siblings. Ugh, I still am rehashing stuff from childhood with my sister, She was the oldest one. So she was always in charge. So that was one of the things that's always been hard for me, is being the baby of the family, and everybody feeling like I don't know anything compared to what my older sister did. So that's always been a sore spot for me, because of the fact that I could probably get a master's degree. I could probably be the president of the United States, and my sister would still try to tell me how the world works. But in that sense, I really truly think that when we're talking about our significant others or our family or our friends, what is it, in your opinion, what is forgiveness for you, and why is it important that we just let it be?
I personally have a real hard time with forgiveness, whether it's someone's done something to me in a malicious way, or they did something and didn't say the entire story because they didn't want to hurt me. I struggle. I struggle with past mistakes that I've done. Forgiveness is just one of those things is the most struggle for me.
Okay.
Honestly. I try not to bring up things that, I forgave this person for, but I'm always on guard, especially if that person is eliciting the same signs that they did before. It triggers.
Yes, I agree with
It's
that.
like, okay, I forgave you for that, but I'm on guard because is there something else that I don't know?
Exactly.
So it kind of nitpicks at you.
So do you think that it hinders your flow?
Yes.
And how do you actually resolve that because of the fact that it hinders you?
I compartmentalize a lot of things, and I just put it back, put it in a drawer and deal with it another day, or I just let it sit there, and hopefully that file just kind of self-disintegrates. Not gonna lie.
Well, and there's some things, doors that I don't even want to open in my brain. I don't. I really leave them closed for a reason, because even though for the most part I've resolved all of my issues, those ones are just too deep. They're just too deep. And that it takes more than just a year of self-therapy to get through that. So, I agree that I don't know that as long as you are living a healthy life, I don't see where that could hinder you. Letting something sit, though, and rot and not addressed, that could hinder you.
It does when a lot of different things are coming at me at once, and it may not be one major event, but it could be that one more little thing, and then I explode, and then everything comes out.
But you recognize that about yourself.
Yes, and so does my significant other.
But I think that is also half the battle too, is I don't think it's necessarily a toxic trait if you're aware of it and you're in control of it, because the fact that it's only a toxic trait if you ignore it and let it sit there and simmer. And like, I will tell you, I do the same thing. I'm okay. That's fine. And bam, it just is that one thing, and it all spills out all at one time. It's fine. It's okay. But I do, and that is something that I am working on right now. But I do agree that letting things just sit there without addressing them could hinder somebody. What about you? What do you do with, like, what's forgiveness to you?
Forgiveness to me is not, like you said, not necessarily I want you to do something for me, but I want you to change the behavior that you did in order, the malicious thing you were doing that I had to forgive you for.
Right.
So, like you said, if you go back to what you were doing before, I'm gonna be triggered, and I'm gonna, because I admit I have a horrible habit of bringing up stuff from the past, because I feel like, are you doing the same thing again, or because
do you think that it's unresolved though when you do that?
I do.
Okay,
and
that's
like,
I think that's
like
different than just making a stab just to make an argument. You're bringing up, well, you did this 3 years ago, so that gives me permission to do whatever A, B, and C because you did this 3 years ago. No, you forgave me for that, so we're done with that. That's a little different when you've forgiven someone, but you just don't feel like it's done.
Yeah,
like they're done doing what they're going to do to you. So even though you forgiveness, that is healthy to put distance, like a boundary, like even, what do we say, 6 feet, that it's a good, right. but I mean, it's good to put that boundary up for yourself. I think, I don't think it's so much bad that people are forgiven and then they keep repeating. I think for your own safety in your own mind and for your own peace, that forgiveness is more for you than for them.
Right.
And I think that's why you bring stuff up from the past too, is because you're resolved. It's fine. But they're not resolved that it's fine. So boundaries are good. Boundaries are very, very good, I think. What about you, Ashley?
I actually, again, want to piggyback off of that. Because I feel like when that happens, when people bring up stuff or it constantly comes up, I feel like it's because it was left unresolved. Like we really didn't have a chance to process through it or grow through it. We just kind of was like, oh, well, for the sake of time or for the sake of not having an argument, let's just say we forgive each other. But then since we didn't really talk about it, when it happens again, that person may not even know that they're doing it. It triggers us. And that's why I think that happens. For me, in order for me personally to forgive somebody, we have to be able to talk about it. I've been through this with people who are friends or who are no longer friends with me now. We have to talk about it. If you're unwilling to talk about it, I will likely not be able to forgive you. And we have to separate and move on. But if we do talk about it, we also have to remember that it's going to take time to see those changes.
I agree.
Because it's something that they have to grow through also. It's something that's new to them.
Right.
And that's a hard journey in itself. But it's
I
multiple
agree.
Factors to
trust. When trust, and I know people do trust differently, but I have been, people treat me like I'm naive because I start every new friend off with, as my teachers did back in the day. You start off the year with an A. Everybody gets an A. When you start being deceiving and when you start doing things that make me uncomfortable with what you're doing, that's where you start kind of decreasing and I start kind of backing away. And that's what I think is the unresolved is, sure, I'll forgive you, but you're not ready to be forgiven because you want to keep doing what you're doing. So, and I think that's where boundaries do come into play. But I agree with you with trust is once I have to forgive you for something, it's more now you've got to earn that back. It's not just about, hey, you get a second shot at it. You definitely, that's when the work starts. And I've told my kids that too. When you've broken my trust, it's not that I don't want to trust you and it's not that I don't trust you. It's that you broke something. Now you have to put it back together. And if the person doesn't have the resolve to do that, then yes, you do have to have a boundary with that. I agree. What about you, Lisa?
Forgiveness is really hard for me because being my age and what I went through all my life, it's forgiveness. It's like us as women, we're all about feelings. You know, when we love hard, you know, and when somebody hits those emotions in us, we don't want to forgive easily.
Right.
You know? So for me, it's like if somebody comes and says, I'm sorry, okay, I can forgive that. But once you keep continually doing it, that sorry don't mean nothing to me.
Absolutely.
So, because those are all my feelings are coming back, you know, and it builds up walls in me. I got so many layers of walls in me that
Yeah.
You
No,
know, as a
I agree.
woman, it's we just go day to day. We live with it, and we just go
Mhm.
work through it. You know, we don't really express ourselves in a lot of ways. So when somebody says, "I forgive you," like if I say I forgive you, I do forgive you. So that is very hard for me to say.
Mhm.
And I forget it. Like I don't think about what happened. You know, what you
Right,
did
it's
to me.
done.
Is I'm done. I don't want to talk about it no more. You know, because at that time point, I already talked to you about it. Because
Right.
I cannot not talk to you about it if it hurts me that bad.
Right.
But if you ever do again, like, and I can go 10, 15 years and not even talking to somebody, don't even care about them. Like once you hit that point, that's just the way I am. Don't hit that point. You know, you want to be my friend, you got to be my friend. You don't want to hit that.
Now, do you, not you in particular, but do you guys feel that in doing so with the forgiveness, when you come across somebody that does something, you know, it could be a new friend, could be somebody you just met, somebody that you want to pursue long term. It could be a fellow sister, it could be a mom, an aunt, whatever have you. You come across somebody new in your life that does that same exact thing. Do you give them the same opportunity of forgiveness, or do you basically let that trigger keep you from forgiving somebody new for the same sin?
For me, I'll give them the same forgiveness because again, it's a thing of they don't know, so we do have to talk about it. But it's kind of really what happens after that. You know, if you continue to do
So
it,
you don't hold that person
Mm-mm.
accountable for somebody else's
They're
infraction.
different. They don't know.
Good. I mean, it that's good. I agree. I think everybody deserves the same opportunity when you meet them, and you shouldn't put your past as an example as to why you don't want to be with somebody new. But I do feel like that does have that hindrance with our ability to be willing to forgive, because the fact that we did that last time, look what happened when we forgave. You know, is this person going to do the same thing that person did? So I think it's a challenge for our inner spirit to be able to forgive in general. I always look at it like, and that's why, you know, just people as a whole disappoint me because of the fact that I hold everybody to the same golden rule standard. I do. I learned it in elementary school and it's never done me wrong. So, I mean, I do unto others as I want to have done unto me. So, you know, I don't understand when somebody goes out of their way to be selfish or goes out of their way to point out how wonderful they are or take the glam away from somebody else that deserves it. You know, I don't understand these things because if we lived like we want to be treated, we wouldn't have this problem, you know? So that's kind of why I look at it, because I know myself, I have a bad habit of letting somebody else that treated me bad, that memory, that trigger. And sometimes when things don't go right with somebody new, you're like, oh, they're going to be the same person again, you know, and you're not giving them the full benefit of the doubt, you know? So that's also why I asked that question, is because it's fair that we as humans tend to see something that reminds us of something and we fall back into survival mode and that wall goes up. And then those people don't get that same opportunity the people that treated us bad have. So what I wanted to do also, because we have, how much time we got a little bit of time. I wanted to kind of talk about grudges.
Dun dun dun.
Because because there's forgiveness and then there's holding someone accountable for the rest of their life for something that, you know, that's where I struggle sometimes, is not necessarily I say I've forgiven somebody and I've let that negative energy go, but I will never be around that person again. You know, I won't let them do to me what they did to me before. But I don't consider that a grudge. A grudge would be, like, for instance, I had a woman that was a friend of my one friend. She was actually his wife. And she ended up stopped being friends with me because she didn't like the way I raised my daughter. So I haven't talked to her since, but it's more that why hold that grudge against me? Do you not see my circumstances? Do you not see the decisions I have to make? So it's that kind of holding someone accountable for something that is in your beliefs is wrong versus just accepting them as a human being and helping them through their mistakes. How hard is that for you to be able to forgive someone and help them to grow from that mistake?
Yeah, I was raised on grudges. My family, both sides, are about as dysfunctional as you can get. When key people like the patriarch or the matriarch of the family have passed on, and it's like the monkeys are running the circus. I don't like drama. I don't like confrontation because I don't like the person that it makes me. So, like,
Right.
If you're toxic, I don't care if you're blood or not. I'm just going to avoid you because you're not going to like what I say or do because of your actions, because no. So, yeah, there's cousins that I haven't seen in many years. It's not that I dislike them in any way. It just, I don't know. I guess because our family, it was just like, oh, well, you know, your dad has problems with this brother, so we're not going to talk to him or the kids. I know we're grown ass adults now. We're knocking on 50's door, you know, but yeah, it's engraved in my brain. Oh, well, drama. So we'll just stay over here.
And do you think you'll ever come to resolve that
No.
with them? That is just something that's just going to hang there.
It's just going to hang there.
I feel it.
Yeah. Forgiveness and grudges. Those are my two.
Well, and really, truly, when I was reading, one of the things that it says, holding a grudge brings bitterness and anger to every relationship and new experiences. Do you think that's true?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I
because
do.
because like you said, everything
I do.
reminds you of what.
So every single
past,
person,
so,
yeah, if you
yeah.
don't have that forgiveness for that person doing that, everybody that you come across that has
Mhm.
that trigger will cause you to be bitter.
Yeah.
It just is. I
Mhm.
agree. You also become so wrapped up in the wrong, you can't enjoy your life, the whole experience with this person because of that one thing they did wrong. So I think that's also a unfair thing that women do to women is we tend to hold grudges against other women because they're not raising their kids the way we would do it. They don't talk the way we want. They don't hang out with the right people that we think they should hang out with. So I think we do hold grudges against other women. When you come into a room and you see a woman for the first time, and you lay eyes on her, you've already judged her one way, left and right, as far as who she is and how she works in this world. And I think that's toxic because of the fact that I have met, since I let go of my grudges against women, I see such beauty. I get chills every time I say this. I see the amazing things that we do. And I want every woman that I ever meet to feel the same way. I don't want us to be bitter. I don't want us to hold grudges. I want us to be free. It says, one of the things we can do, benefits to forgiving someone. We have healthier relationships. We improve our mental health. We lower our anxiety and our expectations of people. We have fewer blood pressure issues. We have less depression. These are things that we are taking our view on the world and judging everybody else that does not fit in that objective. And I do think that's toxic for women because I will tell you one thing, I have yet to meet a woman that I don't find amazing in some way or shape or form because of what she brings to the table. I will be honest. It might not be the same amount of things that one woman brings that another woman doesn't, but that is her contribution and that should be celebrated. The fact that she gets up at 4:00 in the morning and she ends up not going to bed till 11 o'clock at night. And she's done probably 20,000 different things in her head and, on paper. These are things that I believe should be something to be celebrated. Compliment that woman on her shoes. When people go out into the day, That is one thing that we don't think about. When somebody goes out into the day, I know I take an extra minute to make sure my outfit looks right. I make sure my hair looks right. I took the time. I see that in other women. Why not compliment? That's what they want anyways, is because they didn't take the time to make themselves look or presentable. They took the time, and how good does it feel when somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I wish I had that shirt. Holy crap." It makes us feel good. So I think that also is not whole, it's one thing if somebody's specifically doing something against you, but I think as a general rule that women do judge women. Do you believe that?
I just want to say, all y'all beautiful.
Oh, thank you,
We love
Tim.
you, Tim.
I need hugs before all y'all leave.
Take us for instance.
Right.
We've known each other over 3 years, about going on 4
Mhm.
years, and up until recently, I didn't get to know the real you because you were in an environment where you were closed off
Right.
and just utterly filled with inner and outer chaos
Mhm.
that we weren't given an opportunity to know you.
Right.
And when you got out of that toxic situation and you came over, went fishing. It was
I know, I
girls'
caught a
day.
fish.
She
I
did-
never
she did
caught a fish
awesome.
before as an adult. I was so excited, although I did hook him in the eye.
Straight up in the eye.
He totally went, the hook went all the way into his eye socket, and I tried really, really hard. Christy actually had to
I
take
got the
hook out.
hemostats in.
Yeah, because of all the things you had to get in your eye. But I agree that we do tend to put off that kind of energy, and that too can be misinterpreted.
It's like, oh, that's a hot mess. I'm just gonna stay.
Yeah, and I was a hot mess for 25 years. I was a hot mess.
Years.
I lost my identity probably 3-4 times before I finally found it. But that's also why I'm such an advocate for women now, because I don't want them to go through that. I don't want another woman to waste 25 years of their life because of conditioning. And we've been told this is how we're supposed to be as women. Nobody knows how we're supposed to be as women. Nobody knows how we're supposed to be as men.
Right.
Come on. It's all somebody else's rule book. So that's why why I'm also an advocate for women. And I try to bring women in that also have that strength, because the fact that I know there's women out there that are not being treated for their mental conditions. I know there's women out there that think that their young kids will never grow out of this stage, and they're going to be their hell for the rest of their lives. I've been in those shoes. I've been isolated. Nobody knew my husband had a drug addiction for 20 years. Nobody knew that. Why? Because that was not proper to talk about that stuff. Now for me, I don't care. If somebody's got a problem, I want to help you with that problem, but you have to help yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's too, is before you judge a book by its cover, you really got to know the shoes that they're wearing. I really think that, because I always say, if you were in my shoes on that particular day with those particular circumstances, would you have done something different? You don't know. So therefore, you can't tell me I did something wrong. Same with things that we do. So in that spirit, what kinds of grudges do you hold that you should probably, are there permanent grudges, or is it something that you have to resolve in yourself? Or is it a grudge because of the fact that like with Christy, it's just, you're better to walk away from it than try to resolve it?
With me, I try not to hold grudges, just because I always look at it as in I might be blocking my blessings or something. So I don't really hold on to grudges with people. It's just more of which it may be bad. It's just like, if you did something wrong to me, well, you kind of never existed.
Well, right. I know you now.
Yeah,
I know you now.
and I'm not even gonna
I
waste
know
my
you now.
time or energy
Right.
holding a grudge or being mad at you. I just am gonna block you out, like you know, like
Right.
you don't matter or mean anything to me. But as far as like the what you were talking about, when I do feel like women do that. We come in a room and we may judge you, like not even knowing what's going on.
Right. And
We
I don't
see each
think
other
a lot
as-
of women are conscious about
Mhm.
doing it.
We see
But
each
I
other.
know I have, and I always go, God, I'm a bad person, because I let it slip one time in my head that somebody was not as beautiful as everybody else, or not as flamboyant as everybody else.
Mhm.
But again, you're right. We don't know why they're that way. Like for me, I would go to wrestling shows and I would have the deep circles under my eyes like I hadn't slept in years. My skin was pale and cracky and gross. I was not healthy mentally or physically because of it. But the air or negative energy that I was putting off, I was not even aware of until after the fact, after I healed, after, I got to reconnect with my friends. I didn't even realize that I was putting off that kind of negative energy. And I think it's important for not holding grudges or even judging, because of the fact that once you find that out about that woman, you're like, oh, now I get it. And but I shouldn't have to tell you that for you to still treat me and forgive me and love me. I shouldn't have to divulge my entire history for you to understand that I'm a good person and I should be treated with respect, just like you. So that's the other thing I think women do, is we put ourselves on pedestals. I noticed that we will treat the ones that don't necessarily have a lot down below. And I will tell you, the ones that don't have a lot below are probably the smartest, wisest women I know, because of the fact that, just like Lisa, didn't know anything. So, I mean, what are some guidances for those situations that you would necessarily try to give somebody? How do we avoid the bitterness when we can't forgive? How do we do that, Ashley? Do you have any suggestions?
I don't. Because I feel like it starts with you. If you can't forgive, maybe we have to try to figure out ourselves why we can't forgive. It's something that needs to be sorted through. And it's nobody else's fault. But it is something that needs to be sorted through, so that way you don't project it on other people. Because you don't.
So what
deserve
if
it.
we
don't know
project it
you.
on other people? What would you suggest that we do if we're projecting our negative bitterness on others?
Take a second and breathe.
I agree.
Be alone. Breathe. Try to at least process a little bit what happened. Did they really deserve that? Did they really do something to you, or did they trigger you from something that somebody else did?
That's good. So self-evaluation would be, in those moments before you, because I will tell you, I feel people's emotions when I'm in a room, and it's really hard for me to decipher between, is it me or is it the room? So in essence, that is knowing yourself. Have a self-evaluation. Why am I so upset over that woman's dress? What is bothering me so bad about her wearing that dress? It shouldn't. I'm not wearing it. I think it's hideous, but she loves it. Why does that bother me? So I think that too is not seeing past the physical. I know not everybody can sense people's spirits and what have you, but I think if we all take a moment and kind of say, hey, I'm human, you're human, we're come from different backgrounds, but that does not mean we can't do this together, or it doesn't, and you don't have to be friends with everybody. That is something I've learned. It is exhausting being everybody's friend. You can't.
Nope.
Women cannot be everybody's friend.
You cannot.
We have to have, as I put it, a target. I always use a bullseye. You have your center. That's your center. That's your tribe. That's the people you go to when shit gets real. Then you kind of branch out like a rippling pebble in water. Is you trust people on that level, and the outer circle is the outer circle. All right. So we're coming to an end. 2 hours goes by real fast here when we get talking on good stuff. But I do want to give a moment to everybody because not everybody's just on Facebook like me, and people actually do have social media sites. So I do want to give you guys an opportunity to let everybody know about what you're doing. If you have anything coming up that might be cool, that somebody might be interested in, and just kind of go out that way. So Christy, why don't you start us off and kind of go through your credentials?
You can find the Sudsy Wee Soap Company on Facebook. I've tried to do a website to make it easier ordering and what I have, but I'm not very tech savvy at all. And my
If we
computer
have
is-
any ladies out there, get a hold of Christy. She needs some help with some technology.
I need a new laptop. It's still
She
Windows
needs a new
7.
laptop.
Windows 7 does nothing.
Windows XP.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But you can find me on Facebook, the Sudsy Wee Soap Company. I have recent pictures of what's available. I now have shampoo bars. I have rice water, beer, and there was one other one. Oh, apple cider vinegar. So I'm also going to add one more soon for pine tar because in the summers I get itchy scalp and pine tar helps my other skin. So I'm tired of washing my hair with pine tar soap, body bar. But so that's where you can find me. Just send me a message to Christy Schaefer or the Sudsy Wee Soap Company on Facebook.
All right.
Sudsy Wee.
You need to get a voice clip of that
Definitely do
and
that.
start commercials. 'cause
Right.
Tim's got it down.
I love
Um,
Sudsy Wee.
So for me, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Green Eyed Bandit. I also am one half of a podcast called First and Glam. We talk about we talk about different things. Being single moms, sports. Me and my co-host really love sports. So yeah, we break down all the sports teams and everything like that. We do the celebrity news and gossip. So follow our podcast page as well, First and Glam.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Me on social media. I'm on social media everywhere. I do YouTube. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all at Yep, I'm Rosabelle. And you can find my herbal products at Rosa Beauty Skincare. It's rosabeautyskincare.net or Rosa Beauty Skincare on Facebook. That's pretty much all my social media. Thanks for having me.
Both my Facebooks is Growing Wings, Adult Services, and Red Lion Radio. It's going to be coming up with the Sugar and Spice Show. I had to quit for a little while, but we're coming back in a different way. We're going to be having Sugar and Spice Kitchen.
Ooh.
So,
I will be there every day.
that's
I'm gonna
coming
tune
up.
Just let me know where the food is.
Yes. We're going to be rating TikToks, famous few minutes meals and things like that. So it's going to be fun. I am on Facebook also on the Red Line Graphics.
Awesome. And I am Jessica Steffes, and I've been hosting you today. And as I said, I'm very simplistic. If you have any questions or need some guidance, you can always reach me at Jessica Steffes on Facebook. So I thank you guys for all the comments. It's been great. It's been awesome. I got to thank all my ladies, Christy, Jocelyn, Ashley, and
Thank you for
Lisa.
having us. I enjoyed myself.
This was more than what I could have asked for. This was so awesome. So thank you and peace. Have a great week.